So what the court does in such an instance is that parties will file, Adegbenro, thank you for joining. Parties are going to file their statement of what. Then most of the time, this is also backed up by maybe their pay slips to show that, okay, if you say you're working at this place, this is what you earn. So when courts have this information, they are able to decide on what is the contribution that will come from either party. Okay, so can you hear me now? Thank you, Adegbenro. I do hope you can hear me now. So, parties are going to be asked to file their statements of what, and most of the time this is backed up by their pay slips, and then with this, the court determines what is the contribution ratio. So that is the important thing that the courts would consider. But also, I was trying to talk about custody and at the same time talk about, maintenance. Where the custody is granted to the mother, the court orders that the father pays maintenance, and then this maintenance covers the very what's it called now? The maintenance covers the fundamentals, covers housing, covers education, covers health, covers feeding. All of these are fundamentals. So it will cover the rent, cover the feeding of the child, cover the education, and cover the health needs of that child. Yes, so it will cover all of those things. So the courts will consider what the father does and then be able to make appropriate orders for maintenance. Shamel, please, I think there's a second part to that question. Please ask again so that I can answer it here. Yes, another right that knows to the child, like I've said earlier, is after custody is visitation rights. The law is that a child has a right to parenthood, proper parenthood. So the fact that you guys have been dissolved and court has granted custody to a party is not the reason why the court will deny the other spouse access to the children of the marriage or the child of the marriage. No matter what, the court will order visitation rights. That is, the child will be able to visit the father or the mother at so period. Now, this order is not just by way of mouth. It's just not for saying alone. Where the spouse who has custody refuses or denies the other party, it carries serious serious punishment to it. I've seen a spouse, being remanded for this issue, for refusing to obey the order of court with respect to visitation rights. So it does not matter what you adduce, because some women have said a lot of things just because they don't want their husband to have access to the children. The worst the court will make is supervised visitation. That is, you will bring the child to court, then the father will come and meet the child in court. But that a party will not have access is not possible. It's not possible. So we need to put this at the back of our minds. And like I said at my other broadcast, when you are going through a divorce proceeding, yes, we understand that some things can be very painful. There are emotions on here and there, But the court will not take care of that. You are advised to go for counseling, because the court will not take care of that. So you're advised to go for counseling so that it can help you to be able to make, reasonable decisions. The court will not take care of your emotional pain. So the only thing is that you have told the court that the marriage has broken down irretrievably. You guys cannot continue. And then the court will look at it and then settle issues between you. But the issue of your emotional pain that you are using to drive to say that your spouse will not do this, as long as the court settles the issue of custody, settles the issue of maintenance, settles property settlement and all that, those are the legal things that the court will look at. Once that is settled, every other issue, I advise that parties go for counseling, both male and female. It's not a women thing, because most people think that it is only the women. Quite a number of men have spoken to me, and then they want the marriage dissolved, and then the only thing they are gaining at is they want to collect their child. And then they think it just works like that, and then they blackmail, or they put a lot of death on the woman, saying this and this and this. This does not work like that. I was talking to somebody in box, you see, God is going to settle all these, even your lawyer, because he has to file a reconciliation certificate to say that he's been able to sit down with you guys and sort out all these sentimental issues. And yes, indeed, the marriage has broken down irretrievably, and then you guys cannot go on. So, on visitation rights, no court will agree with you that a spouse should not have access to the child, except where you can show exceptional abuse, that if you leave that child with your spouse, is going to be molested emotionally or in any way. You have to really, really adduce that evidence. You will seriously have to adduce that evidence. So court is going to grant access, visitation rights, because it is the rights of the child. So, and because you two are going your different ways, the same is not going to be denied. So you need to have that at the back of your mind. Then another thing is the issue of alimony. Now, alimony works in Nigeria, but on stringent rules. Very, very stringent rules. One, the court will grant alimony in a situation where you guys have been married for over 20 years. That's the Supreme Court. That's the decision. I mean, this issue has been tried up to the apex court. And then the position is that where the court will grant alimony in a divorce proceeding, one, it has to be established that the marriage has, cost over at least 20 years. Also, it has to be established that the other spouse is not likely to remarry. And then you also have to establish that this other spouse has not been working for a better part of the subsistence of that marriage. Now, when these three, when they are fully established, Damola, I think that answers your question. That is a provision for homemakers. That is, if your wife has been, has been a stay-home mom for a better period of that marriage, then alimony can be considered for such. But it is not, you cannot consider alimony for a marriage of 5 years, 6 years. And anything less than 20, you really must adduce evidence to that effect. So alimony works in Nigeria, but those are the rules, those are the stringent rules with which it works. So that's why I've said this at my last broadcast. As your marriage is continuing, it is our prayer that your marriage works. But ensure also that you are taking care of your future. When properties are acquired, don't just acquire in the name of Mr. Dash. That's, that is your husband's property, irrespective of that it was acquired while the marriage was subsisting. And then when you are going to do the Mr. and Mrs., ensure that it is detailed. Don't just do Mr. and Mrs. Adelakun. No, anybody can be Mrs. Adelakun. So you need to spell out the names. These things are very, very important. Yes, Damola, the court cannot restrain any parents from seeing the kids. No, the court will not do that, except where maybe the parent is in prison custody, maybe the person is in prison custody, or is a drunkard, or is such of a, maybe he has mental issues, is such a behavior, emotionally sick, that then they cannot entrust the child with him or her at that point in time. Shamel, you cannot say that. If you frequent the family court in Nigeria, you will know that a lot of improvement is going on. The problem is that we hear a lot of things going on social media, but a lot of people don't get to the courts. A lot of these issues, they don't get to court where the proper rules and the proper laws are going to be applied. But those ones that get there, they are thoroughly handled. They are thoroughly handled, because once it gets to that point, yes, in Lagos, I can say of a surety that there are properly established institutions that look after the children. Yes, we have a lot of remand homes, and then we have homes that are for foster kids. So you are a parent, and then you cannot take care of your word, and then the government takes this word from you. They have homes where they put them. In fact, they have the process of getting them foster parents. That is working in Lagos. No, I don't think so, because that rule is not gender specific. If it is the mother, then the same thing applies. If it is the man, the same thing applies. It's not favorable to any party of the marriage. The thing is that whoever the child is with, because I know when people come and then they want you to prepare their petition for dissolution of marriage, the first thing they want you to say is that they don't want the man to have access, or they don't want the woman to have access to the child. They cannot say comfortably say that the child will be safe and all of that. And so I try to counsel people that, okay, you now say that you people have been living together in the same house, together with this child for this period of marriage, and all of a sudden, because you want a divorce, then you are saying that they cannot have access. On what grounds would the court now say that such a spouse should not have access? Remember, I said that it is not only the man that files for divorce, it's not only the woman that files for divorce. Either of the party can file. And the fact that you file does not mean you are the one that will get the custody. So these are separate issues. They are very, very separate issues. Parties to a marriage can get properties individually while they are married, and they can get together. You have a right to own a property while you are married in your name. Why not? Yes, they can. Parties to a marriage can purchase properties separately. They can purchase properties separately. So that said, I think I have run through all the things we are to look at today. Let me quickly do a roundup, so that we can get this off. But if you have any questions, again, please ask me. And I think I've answered all your questions. Damola, Shamel, Degbenro, please, if I've not answered your question, I'm going to do that after the broadcast, or you can ask me again, because I can't see any question now as we go on. So I said, what are the consequences that flow directly from you being divorced? One of the questions I've been asked consistently since last week is the issue of change of name. And like I said, okay, I'll get back to that in a minute, Shamel. One of the things I said is change of name, and I said that once your order for dissolution is made absolute, yes, you have a right to change your name. And where you choose not to change the name, you want to continue with the use of that name, you have to ensure that you are not misleading the public to think that you both are still married, and you also have to ensure that you are not going to use that name for anything that is fraud. Where any of that is suspected by your spouse, such a person can bring a suit and ask the court to stop you from the use of that name. Then once you get your divorce sorted, it divests you of every right, conjugal rights, mutual defense, sanctity of marriage, all of these things, it divests you, because you guys are no cohabitation and all of that. So you cannot say that you are the one that built the house. Once the court dissolves your marriage, you guys have to settle on that. And I said, of course, properties will be settled while the divorce proceeding is ongoing. So once it is settled, then go and perfect your document in your new name, or so that it can establish that. And I said that jointly owned property is what the court will settle. That is the property that was bought while the marriage was subsistence, and then it has the name of Mr. So and so and Mrs. So and so Adelakun. So that is what the court is going to say. So really, primarily, those are the consequences that flow from divorce. And when I quickly went to talk about the rights, the child rights incidental to a divorce, and I said one is the issue of custody, and that when court is going to consider the issue of custody, we look at the age of the child, and when they're still within the minor age, between the age of 0 and 6, the court is likely to give the custody to the mother. But then the mother also has to show that she's balanced, she's stable, she has the job she's doing, and she's mentally balanced. Where the court has a need to believe that such a mother is not in the proper state of mind to take care of that child, such a mother may not get custody. So that is that. On the issue of then I said also that the court can also ask the child, starting from age 7, to decide who the child wants to live with. Talking on the issue of maintenance, like I said, maintenance is very, very germane, and it covers the most important areas of rent. It covers the important areas of rent. It covers the important areas of education. It covers the important areas of feeding, and also it covers the important area of health. So those are the things that the order for maintenance is going to cover. And I went on to discuss the issue of visitation, that the court, because the children has all these rights enshrined in the laws of the federation of the country, and then Lagos is working it. We have family courts now that deals with family issues and child rights issues. So these things are to be considered specifically when the issue of child of the marriage comes up. So I quickly touched also on the issue of alimony, and I said that yes, it does work in Nigeria, but it works on very stringent rules. One is that your marriage must have been very old, that is 20 and above, and then also you would also have to establish that the party that is seeking for alimony is not likely to be able to remarry. That is, such a person is old, or you're not thinking to remarry again, and also is that such a party has not been working for a better part of that marriage. That is when the court will now consider that such a party is entitled to alimony. Yeah, let me go to your question, Shamel. You said, but such court proceedings seems to apply only to educated and well-to-do few in our society. No, that is not in fact, this court, particularly in Lagos, is open to the downtrodden, those who does not have access or money to be able to do these things. We have an arm of government that deals with these people who does not have the access at his way, or does not have the wherewithal. So it's not for educated society. In fact, the uneducated ones, they are the ones who have better access to our family court. They have better access to Office of the Public Defender, and they defend them without paying a dime. They ensure that their issues are sorted out. So no, that's not correct. Yes, Nigerians do have phobias for courts. Yes. Well, issues of when it comes to family matters, they are not protracted, because that's why we have special courts for them. This court does not do any other thing for family. They do not do any other thing but family issues. They deal with preliminary issues before divorce, because our laws is that if you want to file for divorce, just like I said, you go to the High Court of any state. But you see, these family courts are established in Lagos State. They are under the magistrates court's jurisdiction. So what they deal with is that they deal with very important issues before the conclusion of the divorce. So where you have filed for your divorce, you can appear at the family court to sort out the issue of maintenance pending the determination of that divorce proceeding, where parties are yet to agree on a lot of issues, and it seems that the divorce proceeding is going to be protracted. At the family court, the issue of custody, maintenance, visitation rights will be determined. And then when the court now decides, the same is forwarded, and then the judge is entitled to honor that order and perhaps maybe review it for a better. So people have phobia, but family issues are not protracted. Family issues are not protracted. Cost is easy, like I said. There are a lot of offices that have been established in Lagos State, so cost is easy. And that's why we are bringing this information out, so that people are aware of what are the things that the things that are available, what are the law, what are the things that can help and available to them. Yes, the court physically ascertain the parental, mental, and emotional stability. Yes, because the judge or the magistrate that is sitting, they are trained for this purposes. They are not just picked, they are trained for these purposes. They have gone through training for these purposes. So they have conferences with the parties. Most of the time, this court does not sit in open courts, except maybe when they have issues that maybe they have legal practitioners that need to argue some issues of law. But most of this time, this court sits in conferences with the parties. They sit down in conferences with the parties. It's not about the petitioner and the respondent is seated, the child is seated, and then they discuss. It's always on a conference level. And yes, they are trained. So they are trained to determine the mental and emotional stability of, but it's not by mere looking at the face. So it's not by mere looking at the face. Yes, they ask for medical reports. In fact, they order medical checks where they feel that, okay, they are not clear. This person is unstable. He's made some deposition in this manner. He's saying something else in this manner. When you know somebody who is emotionally not unstable and all that, they order for medical checks. And then they do that at government established hospitals, and then they return with that result. In fact, this happens in more than more than family courts. We have criminal courts that also order checks now, and then they get medical reports before they continue with such a criminal. So that happens. That's available, and is what is working now. Yeah, so that's about that. Once again, I said earlier that ensure that you please look out for our page, Ask a Legal Practitioner, and please ensure that your questions are sent there. I've missed out on a lot of questions because my inbox is always full. So when you send question, another person send, all those things just keep going down. Sometimes when I open my box, I'm scared. So I just do one or two things, I run back. I am also working. So please send your messages best to Ask the Legal Practitioner. We are a body of professionals that are there. They would also, or you have one or two people online at any point in time. So when you send your questions, that you are sure to quickly get an answer, a response. You are sure to quickly get, yes, mad people wear suits, but when mad people wear suits and they come before somebody that is sane, the person will know that they are mad now. Shamel, so please send your questions to Ask the Legal Practitioner. Please, you are sure to get an answer within time. And please, if you have sent me a question before now and I have not answered you, please bring it up. Ask again. Before this broadcast, I tried to look at my box and see how I could answer all of the questions. I think I have done a good job, but I don't know. I might have missed out some. Please ensure that you ask again. Don't get angry. Somebody was vexing at me that she's been asking questions I'm not answering. I'm sorry. I've apologized for that. But please, where to get an answer to your question? If you go and look at our page, you'll see that we respond latest 2 hours max. In 2 hours, you're supposed to get an answer to your question. And please, we are practicing lawyers. Don't just come to us and take counsel and then you carry our brief to somebody else. No. We are a body of practicing lawyers. So when we give you counsel, let us take your brief as well. It is very, very important. So thank you, Max, Abiodun. Max, I just come in, mean that I'm through now. I'm leaving. Thank you, Shamel. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Any further questions can go to my email. Then please don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Wonder241 on Instagram. You can also follow us. You can also follow us, yes, I remember I'm being told that you cannot follow us on Instagram at Ask the Legal Practitioner. Now we have a page on Instagram. Ask the Legal Practitioner has a page on Instagram. Follow us there. You can also ask us your questions there as well. On Twitter, my name is Atinuke Wonder on Twitter. Yes, you can follow me and you can ask your question there also. So that will be that for this afternoon. We'll be seeing again next week. But next week we're going to be moving to more important matters, because we have drilled around these family matters. Although if you have questions also that still come around that line, I will make it a point of duty to ask you. But by next week, we should be looking at employment issues. I have a lot of people that have asked me questions regarding their employment, termination here and there. So we'll be looking at such issues next week. But if we have other questions that are germane around this area, I'll quickly do a short briefing and then I will answer that and then we'll go back to other important matters next week. So that will be that. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you for joining. Thank you for your time. See you again next week. Bye.